Hello and welcome to another episode of Geared Toward Gear. My name is Sean and I'm so glad you're here. Today we're looking at two brand new offerings from BladeHQ that are exclusives of CRKT model, which you already know what's in these boxes because you can read the description. You're smart people. But I've never owned this knife in this size. I have previously reviewed the large Pilar. Today we're looking at the Pilar, just the standard smaller version. So let's get in these boxes. These just arrived. I've not opened them yet. Make sure they got the colors right. Looks like they did. So let's get the boxes and the plastic out of the way and talk about these BladeHQ exclusive CRKT Pilars. All right, so we've got tan and we've got green. And again, I've never handled a standard size Pilar, so this is new for me. And first impression, I can already tell you I like the size. Even though I have extra large hands, as you know if you've watched the channel, I tend to prefer small to medium sized knives. And this size for me is great. It feels super ergonomic, just kind of, again, first impression with that forward finger choil and kind of the natural place to set your thumb on the back of the spine there. So I am digging that. Let's see if it flicks open. It does. Okay. So that's cool. I'm digging the size for sure. So the biggest draw for these knives, as referenced in the description, is that the blade steel has been upgraded. So when the Pilar was launched in 2018, it's been a bestseller for CRKT in 2018 and 2019. There have been a few different offerings. They introduced the large Pilar, which I reviewed, and BladeHQ has done a couple other exclusives with different handle color options. Like I think they did an orange and a blue, and they did do one in S35 VN, but otherwise they've all been 8CR13 MOV. And I'm not an 8CR13 hater by any means, but when these first kind of hit the market in 2018, they were all the rage, and it just didn't really speak to me because it was all stainless. And it just didn't, it looked a little boring, and I had owned a couple of other CRKT knives that are all stainless, and they were really slick in the hand, and so I just chose not to purchase one until the large version came out. And when the large version came out, they did release a model with D2 steel, and when that happened, the market really reacted, and people were calling for a CRKT Pilar standard size, as you see in front of you, with an upgraded steel, specifically D2. And CRKT delivered, and they are now offering these two models that are exclusive to BladeHQ in D2 steel. So that's pretty awesome to get high quality steel with G10 handle scales at $39.99 US. So a good value there. So let's talk about the specs real quick. So these specs are going to be true for any CRKT Pilar, except for the large version, of course. Whether it's the standards, all stainless, or carbon fiber, dimensions are all the same with the exception of the weight, and we will touch on that here in just a second. So what we're looking at here is an overall length of 5.9 inches, a blade length of 2.4 inches. The blade steel, again, is D2, and it's kind of a satin finish there, which looks quite nice. They did a good job on that. The bevel looks to be grinded or ground nicely. Definitely sharp out of the box. Let's take the packaging here and just do a little slice test. That is quite sharp out of the box. So I may throw it on the strop just to tune it up just a little more, but that is very sharp out of the box. The edge is plain, obviously, no serrations there. The weight on this is going to come in at 3.9 ounces, or I'm sorry, 2.9 ounces. 2.9 ounces on the BladeHQ exclusive with G10 handle scales, and that's going to be a little lighter than the standard version, which was, I believe, 4.25 ounce, because instead of having a slab of stainless on this side, you have a thin G10 scale, so you're saving a little bit of weight there. So 2.9 ounces in weight. Let's just kind of start looking at some of the features, because again, I've never handled one of these before in this size. So it is a thumb hole opening, as we saw earlier. You can just roll it open nice and easy, or you can flick it open. The locking mechanism is going to be a stainless steel frame lock, as you can clearly see. Pocket clip looks like it is reversible for tip up, or it's currently in a tip down orientation, but you can swap that for tip up carry by just swapping the clip to the other side. So you cannot put the clip on the presentation side, so not super left-handed friendly, although you can certainly open this with your left hand with that thumb opening hole. So probably an okay option for lefties, not ideal, but that is what it is. The lockup on this frame lock appears to be pretty good. It looks like it's probably like 40% or so. It feels, and I'm cranking on this thing, I don't feel any play whatsoever. That's actually extraordinarily strong, actually. So no play in any direction. Let's look at blade centering. On this example, it is dead center. And let's look at the green one here. Looks pretty dead center. It's actually looking a little off to the right in the camera, but when I look at it with my naked eye, it looks pretty dead center, maybe just a hair off to the right. So looks like decent quality control there. The finish on the stainless steel frame lock looks nice, just kind of a flat stainless finish, not super shiny, so that's nice. The G10, the feel reminds me, if you've ever owned or handled like a Kershaw Skyline would come to mind. It's not smooth. It's not uncomfortable or aggressive by any means, but it's not super smooth G10, which I like. You can probably hear that sound as my thumb runs across it. So I like the texture. It's not, again, overly aggressive to make it uncomfortable, but it's certainly functional in terms of adding grip. Looks like we've got an aluminum backspacer here. All the hardware is recessed. Yeah, I mean, I'm digging it. There's no liner on the G10 scale side, which is nice because it's not necessary for a knife of this size. So yeah, good first impression on the CRKT Pilar. Again, the reason I bought these is because it has D2 steel, and at 40 bucks, I think you're getting a good value for that cost. So I think it's a good buy, and I'm glad that they introduced these in D2. What I predict, and I'm no, psychic, but the Pilar line of knives from CRKT has been so popular over the last year. I would expect these to become standard offerings at some point from CRKT this year, meaning I would fully expect them to start offering direct from CRKT or any other dealer D2 steel in the Pilar. Not just exclusive runs to BladeHQ, but more to the mass market, because the consumer is simply asking for it. And so I think they would be failing to capitalize on that if they didn't make this a standard offering. Maybe some other color options, handle materials, even further upgrade the blade steel. But I think D2 at this price point is going to be kind of a bread and butter price point for this knife. The standard one in all stainless, I believe, goes for something like $27, $28. So you're paying an extra 12 bucks for D2 steel, which in my opinion is well worth the upgrade. But if CRKT wants to really capitalize, I think they need to make these standard offerings in every color under the sun and just really capitalize as kind of flagship design for them, because it's been so popular. Speaking of design, these are designed, and my fingerprints all over it now, but these are designed by Jesper Voxnäs. You can see there, Pilar, Voxnäs design, D2. So a great design, just super comfortable. Again, this is first impression being in my hand for about 8 or 9 minutes, but really a comfortable knife. So I'm digging it quite a bit. Again, these are exclusive to BladeHQ. I don't know when they'll sell out. I'll put a link in the description where you can find these. Thank you guys for watching. And one cool thing about the Pilar that I'll add real quick is that they're very customizable, in that there are some aftermarket companies that make custom scales for these. So Titanium being one of them, carbonized being another. You can get copper, brass, titanium, carbon fiber, every color of G10 under the sun you can buy aftermarket. But what I would like to see from CRKT is for them to offer those direct from their manufacturing. But I'm digging it. I can see why people love this design, and I'm glad to see it in G10 with D2. So I think it's a great deal. I'm digging it so far. Time will tell whether or not it becomes a mainstay in my EDC rotation, but as of right now, I think it's a great design at a fair price with good materials. So that is my mileage on the CRKT Pilar. Again, links below. Also, I'm very active on social media, on Instagram and Facebook specifically. So if you check the links below, you will see how you can access those accounts of mine on Instagram and Facebook. And I post pictures all the time of new gear that I get, probably long before it's going to get reviewed. For example, I got this Kaiser beg letter today and posted that on Instagram. However, it may not get reviewed for a month or ever. If you want to see a review of this, let me know. But if you want to get kind of inside information on what's coming in the future, definitely do follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Again, thank you all so much, and I'll talk to you soon.